Kotov plays king h2, as if his king's really going to be safe there after f4. There's this target now of this light squared bishop. And people that really play the King's Indian know that it's good to have this light squared bishop as an attacking unit against the white king. You know, often in variations in the King's Indian, if you can get rid of this light squared bishop, then you can be more, less concerned about your king's safety and can start to sort of infiltrate via the queen side. But here, with that black bishop on c8, yes, it is a dangerous position. Rybka now gives this as minus 0.16. This is the truth. Kotov here had a worse position. I don't mean to go out of my way to refute every example, but this is the second example in Kotov's book where apparently he wasn't analysing correctly. Is it because he wasn't analysing correctly, or is it because Panov was a very dangerous player in his own right who beat him in 1940 and in this position is outplaying him in the King's Indian fianchetto variation? Black has a very dangerous dark squared bishop, which although Kotov may have intuitively thought that bishop wasn't doing anything, potentially, it is useful if Black's going to sacrifice a piece. And, is Black really going to allow White to have lots of queenside counterplay and not do anything against the White king? I don't think so. So Kotov plays now knight b3. And now Panov, he activates his rook. It's logical to create a new tactical vulnerability in White's position. It's good positional play that this rook is blasting down now on the A file. So Kotov is now a pawn down after c takes b4. So he sacrificed that pawn for this, intuitive idea of gaining a bit of space on the queen side. Yeah, but he has given up his dark squared bishop, and this bishop is also dangerous. So at the moment, even though Black's position looks a bit like flat as a pancake, with most of the pieces on the first row, only this knight on the second, Black has a very dangerous position. In fact, this flat as a pancake analogy, in one of my games at the Gibraltar tournament where I lost quite a few FIDE rating points, I had a similar position where I completely underestimated my opponent because visually their position was flat, as this all their pieces were on the first rank. And I guess it's this kind of encouragement that there isn't much going on, which maybe is sort of deceptive. It's as though Black's provoking White, as though there aren't nasty surprises. But in fact there are, and in fact after knight g5, so Kotov was informed after the game that Panov thought White was busted here, and it does look really dangerous now. The coordination of knight and bishop on h3, and in conjunction with being able to play f3, getting a very dangerous fawn pawn, thorn, a fawn in White's side, ready to assist in creating a mating net in some variations for the White king. So White plays rook fd1, and we don't see the spectacular variation that Panov demonstrated after the game. And I'll quickly show you that now. Like f3, bishop f1, and here, in this position, let's flip the board and make this a little puzzle. Black to play and win. So I've told you that this piece is potentially dangerous. That's your clue. I'll give you 5 seconds in this position. What would you play as Black here? Starting from now. Okay, there's a winning combination. Bishop takes h3. The bishop takes, knight takes. So the king takes. That's all forced. It's nice to have the if-then condition logic because it's forcing moves. You can guarantee that White will have to play like that, and here it requires another clever move. But remember I told you there's a fawn pawn, so I'll give you 5 seconds here. What is the killer move for Black here? So starting from now. Okay, the killer move's queen g5. Kotov, apparently missed this whole variation, and White has no defence because, funny enough, Black has got still this dangerous dark squared bishop, which often in the King's Indian can be lethal if White's underestimated it. So White is now faced with this mate in one. Now say White plays g4, how would you finish off White here? In fact, there's 2 ways. I'll give you 5 seconds, starting from now. Okay, Rybka gives either bishop e7, which was what Panov suggested, but there's also, even more accurate, a mate in 4 with h5. Because if, say, rook g1, then bishop e7, now king g3, queen takes g4, and queen h4 is mate. And actually h5 is quicker than bishop e7. So bishop e7 as well. That would give king g3. And here, apparently, the mating for is with rook f8. So after rook h1, and now here, there's rook f4. So this is mating. Look at that pawn fawn. It's stopping, white from arranging a suitable defence. And it's forming part of, a dangerous mating net. So Kotov had missed this variation. Let's flip the board and go back here. He'd missed all this stuff with bishop takes h3. So that was part of his, disappointment with this game. But actually, he played in the game continuation. Let's just roll back here. c5, knight g5. He played rook fd1. And could black, have played that aggressively? No, because black after f3, Kotov, he'd played h4. So intuitively, he'd sidestepped some of these very dangerous variations by playing h4. But now black played knight takes e4, just a simple decoy on the queen, protecting that knight. The queen's overloaded, protecting e4 and a2. Not that the knight was that brilliant on a2, but I guess if Kotov had more time to recapture on b4, he would have been fine. He would have had, a very good queenside space advantage. But now his position is blown to bits by what, this pancake which black had previously had has turned into life. Bishop takes f3. Now rook takes a2 is played, because there's a beautiful family fork now on all black's pieces. After queen takes a2, knight c3. White has no time to get out of the triple fork. So and the game continuation was like this. So Kotov was just worse here. 6 pawns for black. He's a pawn down, but black's, the scope of black's pieces is increasing all the time now with this e4 move. The rook's really active. Black wins back the exchange and now plays queen c3. And this endgame is just horrible now. So black reinforces e4, overprotecting e4. And now e3 is a weakness for that dark squared bishop. And also d5 is weak. His pawns are pretty pathetic. So he plays this trap move. If rook d5, then bishop c4. Black ignores that, of course. c6.